And welcome back, everyone. Welcome to World Team League 2022 Winter Code S Round 6, day numero tres. I'm, of course, your host, Light VIP. With me once again, I'm joined by the one, the only, the lovely, the AsherBro.
Hooray!
And the Rufus.
He's happy to be here. I think he's gonna fall asleep like this.
I was about to say, he looks like he's sleeping. He's, oh my god. But I understand why he's awake. He's here. He's ready for the Zergs, Papi. Because up first, mate, we got Shopify Rebellion, we got ByuN, we got Hearthstone, Lambo, TLO, and Scarlett.
Oh, now I understand why you were so excited about today. It's because we've got so many Zergs playing.
It's true, but mate, they're extinct. We never get to cast them. We never get to.
Hey, just in this first one, we've got what? Scarlett, Lambo, TooDming, and Silky.
Oh, give me more.
All Zergs, because Zergs broke.
Get out of here. Oh my god. But yes, we are going to be featuring, I believe, Shopify Rebellion and Team SSLT. And it looks like we are going to be featuring some of these amazing players. No surprises here. Firefly being chosen as the ace from SSLT. Meanwhile, Shopify Rebellion picking out ByuN. I think we can agree with this.
Yeah, I think definitely either ByuN or Lambo as the ace, but we do have these matchups lined up, so we're going to have the ZVP to start us off, and yeah, Firefly has been a big star player for SSLT, actually knocking us out of our little Code A run.
Yeah, he all killed us, man. He all the memories are flooding back. But Firefly is a terrifying opponent, but he's also going up against a terrifying player. One of the best foreigners, period. The best North American Zerg player coming out, Scarlett.
Yeah, absolutely. And Scarlett, I don't think it's too out of line to say that her form could be in question sometimes, but she has been playing a lot lately. She's been streaming a ton and playing in a lot of tournament games as well. I know recently actually 4-0'd Trigger in Steadfast's Best of 7 show match.
That's a pretty strong result, honestly, and I agree. There are definitely periods in periods where Scarlett is like, you know, maybe playing a lot of Dota, maybe playing a lot of Brood War, or focusing on her AI. But this does feel like the period where she is in form. She is focusing on StarCraft, and it really does show in those results. It does make a lot of sense. We were talking about it yesterday, but Atlanta is less than 2 weeks away, so you want to be in form for that and also maintain going into Katowice. So it's always really exciting to see Scarlett when she's, you know, at her best.
You're trying to say there's something wrong with playing Dota instead of playing StarCraft?
Yes. That's exactly what that was. You know what? Call of Duty, Dota,
Spider-Man.
He claps back. Spider-Man. You know, how dare we play these other games? Because in the top right-hand corner, playing StarCraft, playing for the Shopify Rebellion, Scarlett.
And in the bottom left-hand corner, the red Protoss playing for SSLT. This is Firefly. I was going to say also playing StarCraft, but on a slightly easier mode. The Protoss hate is real.
The balance winding is out. It's not going back in. Oh god, but yeah, it's really cool to see these first. Oh my god, Scarlett's got like an angel on her shoulder.
Are you okay?
Do you not see the Zergling in the background?
Oh, yeah, I can see it.
Oh my god, are you okay?
You're just like, I think that's a bad sign if you start seeing angels in the backgrounds of cameras and stuff. I think that means you're about to die.
I think that's the beginning of the end, Papi. Oh no. But yeah, she's got like her spirit animal behind her, kind of like guiding her way through.
Yeah, the Ling will keep us all safe. Keep us sound.
I know what you want to say. You're like, nah, mate, that's the devil on her shoulder. Okay, it's Zerg, Papi.
Aye. But meanwhile, we have this probe doing its best drone impersonation, trying to mine amongst its new friends.
Yeah, trying to assimilate and become one with the hive mind. So far, Scarlett has opened up pretty standard. The probe was able to force the unnatural, natural. Everything is pretty, as we would expect. I feel like the biggest thing is that we want to keep an eye on what Firefly is up to, because we have casted him during the WTL qualifier run and in Code A, of course. But is he really, or like, what's his kind of form in this matchup? Is he one to go for that hero style? Is he one to mix things up, do something differently? Is he willing to play like Patty Mac?
Yeah, I'm trying to cast my memory back to how Firefly has played PvZs in the past, if we have seen them, but so far it does look like he's going to be opening up pretty standard. I wouldn't be too surprised if he had researched Scarlett a little bit, if he might want to go for something that will counter the +1 melee style, because she has been using that quite a lot.
Yeah, and that can sometimes be Scarlett's downfall. I know she can sometimes blindly go +1 melee as well with very limited scouting information. It kind of locks her into a certain tech path in a way. So maybe there is a way to counter that. I do think that's kind of why Patty Mac loves going for his kind of Glaive Adept style with 3 gateways in current meta. But we'll see, because maybe Firefly is feeling confident enough to go toe-to-toe with Scarlett.
Or maybe he's going to throw down the second Stargate and start making Void Rays.
Oh no. That would be a way to get the mental win. Like, even if Scarlett wins the game, she's gonna lose mentally, mate. Let's be real.
Yeah, that might be the way to get her to play Protoss in the second game.
Oh my god. It's been a hot minute since we've seen her off race.
I mean, it's pretty good. She still plays it on the stream. It's fairly solid.
Yeah, I would. We'd love to see it. It's not the first time we've seen a player off race in this past week of StarCraft. Hopefully with a little bit more success if it does happen.
Oh yeah, yeah. I was trying to cast my mind back.
Yeah.
As you're talking about when Spirit played Protoss against the arrogant Terran.
I'm always gonna remember that now. When I think of Cuckoo, I'm just gonna think of an angry Spirit.
Yeah, that was great. It's pretty great that he won as well. I think that just makes it even better.
Yeah. Solid drama. You love to see it. Sometimes we need it in StarCraft.
I agree. But meanwhile, for Firefly, he will just be securing his third here. Scarlett does get the scouting on that as well. Meanwhile, making a Twilight Council behind this. We haven't seen the Forge go down just yet, so not 100% sure as of yet that it's going to be that hero Blink +1 style.
Yeah, and I do think that this is a good thing for Scarlett, because there is no third Oracle. The second Oracle moves out across the map, and we have a flood of Lings coming out for Scarlett. She looks to intend to break that third base, and I think she's going to have a pretty easy time doing it, especially now that these Oracles have spent some energy across the map.
Yeah, she just completely evacuates that main, was gambling a little bit, skipping out on that spore at the earlier timing. Meanwhile, these Oracles, they need to get home to deal with these Lings, but looks like some pretty nice SimCity is going to keep those 3 Adepts just tucked away there.
Yeah, exactly. Going to reduce the surface area as much as possible. There are just so many Lings. The shield battery is going to go down. 2 Adepts go down. The pylons as well. It looks like the Oracles will get here just in time to clean up. And it looks like Firefly does hold on to his third.
Yeah, importantly, Firefly bought himself enough time with those Adepts to keep himself safe. And we do see that Scarlett is very slightly ahead on the work account. But with that third Nexus coming up, Firefly can begin to chrono out his probes.
Yeah, now this is scary, because this was a lot of Lings, and again, this was designed to cancel the third. I don't think, again, Scarlett didn't have eyes on the third base. She didn't know how good or bad the SimCity was. She didn't know how many units there were there either, so this is kind of worst case scenario for Scarlett, especially because behind this, Firefly is not going for Blink.
Yeah, this is a really interesting build. I've heard this referred to before as Star Glaives, which I kind of like. But going a Stargate build into Glaives, often you don't see this much commitment to the 3 Oracles. But I think this is really designed to catch Scarlett completely off guard. And this is a very intelligent build to go for against someone like Scarlett, because she's the kind of player that will hard counter what she perceives to be a read. Yeah. And that might mean that she has nothing prepared for this.
Exactly, like I was talking earlier about how, Patty Mac's style did work against Scarlett for this very reason. Would you see that the Baneling Nest only just now started? The Adepts are coming in, but Lings are really not what you want against this, and there are only a handful of Roaches on the way.
Yeah, Lings are only just spawning now. She had literally no Lings when this hit, I believe, and there are a lot of Queens and that will help hold this, but these Adepts have a lot of potential for damage here. I do like that Scarlett's moved all her drones away from there, but it's going to be a massacre now.
Yeah, exactly. 1 queen, 2 queens already going down. Not a lot of drones because the army is in position, but every dead queen is going to be a win here for Firefly. Oh.
Yeah, and this Shade over here is going to be taking out a lot of drones as well. So this is a really well-planned build by Firefly. Behind this, he's got his third coming up. He's got Blink on the way and his extra gases. He can just preserve these units, and he will have a nice position going into the mid-game. But Oracle's getting more damage too. He is pulling Scarlett apart.
Yeah, exactly. Scarlett's being punished right now for not getting a spore in her main base. She was cutting corners earlier, and the punish is real. 16 drones are going to be going down. A lot of the Shades do end up escaping as well. And Scarlett, from here, she is going to have +1 melee. She does have a Roach Warren, but she doesn't have Roach speed. Like, she's not even really ready for a counterattack.
Yeah, 100%. And if these Blink Stalkers start to attack, which is exactly what they're doing, even bringing a probe, I'm not sure if that's intentional. There we go. He's going to be building that pylon nice and close there. He will have access to Revelations as well to start clearing back this creep, but it looks like he's just going to be sending it straight into this 4th base.
Yeah, and Scarlett, she was caught droning. This entire time, she's been trying to catch up with all the workers she has lost. She has minimal units to defend. The queens are coming in, but we saw 3 queens die earlier, and now they're going to crumble here. They don't have enough energy for transfuse, and there's just not enough buffer for them.
Yeah, and GG. Firefly going to be taking that one down.
Wow, GG. Very well played there by Firefly. Very well planned. And unfortunately, Scarlett was never able to get a full scout in a couple of different ways. She wasn't able to get a scout of the 3rd base before she committed to an attack. She was just kind of just hoping that things would go her way there, and also not really recognizing what the follow-up was and what was being researched by that Fire Council.
Yeah, exactly. And this is just a really well-planned build by Firefly overall. Scarlett will always drone extremely greedily in gaps that she thinks that there are. And yeah, Firefly just kind of abusing that fact. And the follow-up all in doing the same thing as well.
Yeah. Again, very smart play here from Firefly. But at the same time, I think we both do have to agree that after Scarlett takes a loss like this, like, she's not going to let that happen again. You know, maybe she's a little bit overconfident or a little bit on autopilot in that first game, but now she's going to be taking things much more seriously. So Firefly has to adapt here in game 2.
Yeah, I am definitely expecting to see a lot more scouting, just sending in single lings, a lot more care with those tempo-based plays. Like going for the cancel on the 3rd, I wouldn't be surprised if Scarlett is going to play things a lot more safe this time.
Oh yeah, exactly. A little more safe, or maybe even a more aggressive play. You know, maybe delaying that Evo Chamber, going for a faster Roach Warren, and committing into like Lingbane Roach Ravager early on as a more solid style. It's less aggressive. It does mean that the 3rd base goes unhindered a little bit for the Protoss, but it is safer.
Yeah, I think that is probably going to be a better idea. Meanwhile, we do have these little hexagons up here. Looks like they actually give... is that Firefly getting the nod for micro?
Yeah.
Kind of interesting.
That's a little bit crazy. Yeah, I don't know if he's really known for his micro. I mean, I would like to trust the WTL organizers that they know a lot of the Chinese players more than we do. So, you know, maybe it's something that he's more known for. But yeah, interesting that he would have that over Scarlett, though. That's the more interesting thing.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, maybe Scarlett hasn't performed as well in these team leagues. I'm not really sure how she did last season, and I'm guessing these might be based off last season. But yeah, I definitely think that could be up. But we do see her pipping him in the strategy macro mindset, so yeah, that's fair.
Yeah, I would totally be okay with Scarlett getting a little bit more micro. Yes.
Yeah,
100%. Like, mindset, being docked on mindset would make a lot of sense for Scarlett. She has been known to vent her frustrations about certain things in StarCraft, like Protoss, in the past.
Just Protoss. Yeah, pretty much just Protoss.
Yeah. She has publicly shamed Protoss before.
My favorite story about that is when she was insisting that oracles were like completely broken and no one believed her. So she just played Protoss and masked oracles completely and was just crushing people by putting stasis traps everywhere, by just like covering the entire map in stasis traps.
Yeah. I remember her. She would also, I can't remember exactly what names, but I remember she would rename her ladder accounts as well, like related to that sort of thing. Like,
my favorite was the clan was A-moved, and then the name was By Carriers. A-moved by Carriers. I'm like, yeah, fair enough.
Yeah.
And there was another one that was like, I think she had the Chinese, like the pinyin for
Mhm.
most powerful race Protoss or something like that. Or like number one race or something like that.
Yeah. Like it's well known that she has a certain disdain for Protoss, and this loss here is already just adding fuel to the fire. The narrative keeps going strong, Papi. Oh my god.
So maybe this little delay is her asking if she can play Protoss.
Would she
I don't think it's allowed.
I mean, I don't think she prefers PvP. Did she play Protoss for PvPs though? Like I remember her switching.
It was for ZBZ.
Yeah. I remember her switching to Protoss against Zerg. That's the thing.
Yeah. Inflicting suffering on your own.
Yeah. Sometimes you just want to be in the shoes of the villain, it just can feel good sometimes. And speaking of feeling good, spawning in the top left hand corner, playing Zerg, representing Shopify Rebellion, we have Scarlett.
And in the bottom right hand corner in the red for SSLT, this is Firefly.
Representing the old camels. Beautiful.
I think it's the starving camels.
The starving, yeah. Well, they're old and starving, yeah.
Old, starving, decrepit, sad.
Smurge, Papi. Smurge.
The unwell camel.
Oh my god, mate! I think we see what was the delay. Wait, Scarlett is smudging pretty hard right now. She turned the lights off, man! Oh my god! That's the next level. She didn't have a hoodie to cover her face, so she just turns off all the lights. We can't see the angel anymore. The Zergling isn't there.
Yeah, you don't want to know what happened to the Zergling.
No, she got rid of the Zergling. She's like, this is your fault. Why did I pick you in the end? She threw it across the room.
Turn around, blam blam. Yeah, but I don't know. I think this is standard Scarlett. I'm pretty used to seeing this during tournaments and that.
It's true.
Fully in the dark.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure. Again, she's playing her heart out, and I definitely think that she is. We were talking about it before that we expect more defensive play coming out in game number 2. We'll keep an eye out for that. So far, things looking pretty normal and pretty standard. Firefly once again, just denying that natural.
Yeah, so Firefly is just going to be going for the standard build once again. Wouldn't be too surprised to see him maybe pulling out the Stargate again. That did go pretty well last time.
Yeah, exactly. Going into a Stargate opener, I expect to see double Oracle again. It's just the transition point from there, right? Is he going to go once again into Glaive Adepts, or into Blink, or into Charge? He can do anything.
Anything.
Oh my god! He doesn't even go for the Stargate.
A Robo first. We've actually been seeing this a lot lately.
Yeah. Well, we've seen one player do it a lot recently.
I saw Zhao do it too.
True.
I think it's quite popular on the Korean server, which I'm sure is where Firefly does a lot of his practice.
That's true. We were a little bit spoiled, if you remember, in ESL Cup Asia. Classic did this every single ZVP, just Robo first, time and time again. So maybe he's kind of leading the wave here for new meta style, or maybe it's just popular in the Korean server, as you were saying, as Firefly whips it out here.
Yeah, maybe it is a new meta, as we were seeing. They're beautiful, beautiful sponsor logos.
Shout out to Hojo. And we're all, of course, enjoying things here on Twitch, but shout out to the Chinese stream that is on Douyu. That is the little shark on the edge there.
Cute. But meanwhile, we do have quite a few gateways being started up. We do have the Robo Bay on the way as well. So yeah, this is what we have been seeing a lot of, these disruptor drop builds. We did see, was it Creator or Classic? Classic, right?
Classic, yeah.
Yeah, we saw Classic pulling out these builds where sometimes he would just go for the one disruptor and then go into a big Colossus timing with a bunch of sentries and zealots and stalkers. Sometimes he would go for the double disruptor drop and macro through that. So those are the two builds that I'm expecting here, but Firefly might have his own twist on it.
Yeah, I think regardless, we do expect a disruptor first. He's not wild. He's not, one to divulge in the NA ladder. And there we go. Disruptor is going to be coming out. I thought you were going to transition, by the way, saying, that shark may be cute, but what Firefly is doing is anything but cute. Okay, oh my god. As he's waiting for the first disruptor, going to be going across the map again. We're going to be keeping our eye on things, whether he goes for a second disruptor or whether he does something a little bit different. Oh.
Or neither.
Yeah, he goes for one.
He goes for supply block.
Yeah, we can't see what unit it is because he supplied. There it is. You were talking about it. Classic did whip this out before. We go for a single disruptor. We harass a little bit across the map, and then we get ready for a counterattack. We make sure that we hold onto our third base against any kind of Ling run by with Colossus.
Yeah, exactly. And it can set you up for a really powerful timing, but instead we actually see a Stargate going down. So yeah, it does look like he has his own entirely different way of doing this.
He's crazy, puppy. He throws down 2 more Stargates. Is he going to go double Stargate Phoenix?
Yes.
Oh god. This, I don't think we've quite seen this before, but yeah, we're going to be relying a lot on these high-tech units, not so much when it comes to gateway units. There's +1 air attack.
Wow, this might actually be Void Rays.
Void Rays? Oh my god. Is he that disgusting? Is he going to make Scarlett smudge even harder? The first Nova goes off and does get a decent amount of drones.
Yeah, 4 drones putting a lot of damage on that queen as well. Even a little bit of damage on that spore crawler. So he will just be going in and out. A little bit greedy there. Does get repelled by the queen, but what's he got in plan? He is actually going for Phoenix and going for a Twilight as well. So he's tricking us and we can see everything.
Yeah, he's going for different twists and turns here. The Phoenix production has now commenced. Meanwhile, Nova does whiff here. Nice control here. Nice micro, WTL organizers. By Scarlett, avoiding that. She's going to be going for a counterattack. But again, despite this counterattack coming across the map, we have defensive Colossi. So I'd be surprised if Scarlett does too much with this. Yeah, she herself isn't feeling too confident about it either. She backs off.
Yeah, I was going to say as well, though, that this might be a good time for a very committed attack, maybe bringing the queens or something like that, since Firefly is teching so heavily, but doesn't look like Scarlett's really aware of that, so hard to say what the next best move should be.
Yeah, it looks like Scarlett has an Overlord outside the natural, but she hasn't gone into the main base, so as you were saying, she doesn't really know what Firefly is up to right now. She doesn't know what he's doing. Oof.
Oh, and a big shot. Finally getting a little bit more value with that disruptor. So we do see charge and +1 being started up. So I actually think this is going to be a Phoenix charge all in. This is disgusting.
This is actually disgusting. There's the gateway explosion. The Phoenixes are finally going to reveal themselves again. They've been kept hidden this entire time. How many queens do we have on the map? We do have 3 queens in production, but a lot of these overlords are going to go down. They were left exposed.
Yeah, there's a lot of these going to be going down, and I'm not really surprised that that the overlords haven't been pulled back, because as Scarlett, this is the last thing you're expecting.
Yeah, she's like, what? We should be seeing Colossus production. We should be seeing maybe more robos, maybe a second robo being going down, a commitment into ground toss. Meanwhile, it looks like Firefly has finally lost his first disruptor, but I feel like at this point it has paid for itself.
Yeah, disruptor will be going down. Meanwhile, these Phoenix just racking up the overlord kills and setting himself up for a very aggressive timing in the near future, even making some more disruptors, and all the overseer going down as well. Scarlett's done a very good job of preemptively making a lot of overlords. It doesn't look like she's really been supply blocked by any of this.
Yeah. I mean, she's already at 200 supply when it comes to Overlord. So even though she's losing a lot, it's not really impacting her too much, thankfully. But this is still keeping her at home. It's still keeping all these queens busy. A lot more Overlords are getting picked off here. And behind this, again, Firefly is getting ready for a ground assault.
Yeah, we see a lot of drones going down as well. We'll be spending that recall to bring those back. They will be really helpful later on, just to pick up a few units here and there. And we do have Vipers coming as well. So if those Phoenix can snipe out the Vipers, that would be huge.
Yeah, the Vipers are going to play a key role here. With the Vipers, they can make or break an engagement. They can take down the Colossus, they can take down the Disruptors, they can take down the Archons, or they could do none of that due to those Phoenixes. At the same time, bit of a Ling run by, not going to do too much, just take down the Pylon. And here we go, Firefly is going for his push.
Yeah, the attack is finally here. We do have a lot of roaches prepared for these zealots, and Scarlett is in position. She will have to be careful judging this fight as those Archons starting to get a little bit of damage as well. And the Disruptor, oh, fairly big shot there, but the Disruptor will be yoinked in.
Yeah, it gets yoinked in, but the Disruptor survives. Meanwhile, the Phoenixes pick everything up. The Phoenixes are going to be going down. Is there enough to really power through all these roaches? It looks like there barely isn't. Again, with only a single Disruptor, couldn't do it.
Huge power bomb taking out 4 of the Phoenix, but Firefly at the same time is going to be ducking these Adepts in, getting a lot of drone damage while this is all going down.
Yeah, 14 drones are going down. Meanwhile, these are glaive-less Adepts. Bear that in mind. Another powerbomb going to be attaching itself to this Phoenix. Meanwhile, with good enough reinforcements, it looks like Firefly holds on in the middle of the map.
Yeah, and this is where I'm starting to get a little bit worried for Scarlett. There's a lot of Zealots coming in to reinforce. That was a really nice pickup with the Prism as well. The Yoink pulls the Disruptor one way and the Prism pulls it back the other.
Yeah, exactly. The micro from both of these players really putting on full display. Meanwhile, Scarlett isn't taking this lying down. She has been taking up. We have a Lurker Den. We have Seismic Spines on the way. She is transitioning into Hydra, Lurker, Viper. Doesn't have any Lurkers yet, but she's on her way.
Yeah, and Scarlett is on a really high drone count as well, and she's droned straight back up after losing all those drones previously, so she's going to be able to replenish these roaches really fast. As long as she doesn't lose too much of her army all at once, I think she's in a fairly good position to take this one down.
Yeah, definitely, and I'm really surprised that Firefly is venturing so deep into creep with only 2 Disruptors. One gets sniped, the other gets yoinked as well. Firefly just doesn't really have a strong enough army to really contend with all these roaches.
Yeah, those Vipers, like... Have you ever been to Hague's? You know, the chocolate place? No. Okay.
What?
There's a chocolate place called Hague's, and like when you walk in, they give you trials of the truffles.
What are you saying right now?
It's like all these little pieces of chocolate. Well, it just feels like, I feel like I'm a... When I go to Hague's, I feel like a Viper. Like I just walk in and I just like yoink all these little chocolates from here and there. Just whoop, whoop. I don't know. This would have worked a lot better if you knew Hague's.
It sounds like you're explaining a magical chocolate world.
It is. It really is.
Oh my god.
And that is Scarlett. She is in a magical chocolate world where she yoinks the delicious Adepts, the delicious Archons, and the Disruptors. I don't know if I can call it Disruptor delicious.
There's just so much to choose from, right? Like whatever you pick, there is no wrong answer. She's been so cost efficient with her Vipers. Meanwhile, Firefly is still just constantly in her face, and part of me feels like maybe he's overextending, but despite that, he is dealing damage. He's not losing too much.
Yeah, he's taking out a lot of drones, and more importantly, he's keeping Scarlett at home. So she's not really harassing any of his economy, and he's getting these little chips away where even though he's not trading that well, he is wearing Scarlett down.
Yeah, it feels like Firefly has a really kind of, not the most efficient army or not the most high quality army, but like he's just been all over the place. There have been Zealots in the main base, Zealots hitting the 5th base as well. His main army pushed towards the 3rd. Because of that, slowly but surely, Scarlett has been crumbling. A couple more Novas going off, getting half-decent connections.
Yeah, pretty good splits coming out from Scarlett there. She will have to be careful, doesn't have her entire army here, and still a little way away with the Lurkers.
Oh, exactly. Meanwhile, these Disruptors, they need a little bit more time. There we go. Another Nova's going to be going off, but the Vipers are here in time. At the same time, we have a Roach run by. It looks like it's going to be cleaned up. It's going to be close, whether or not that Nexus stays alive. But Scarlett holds, and ooh, Firefly holds onto his base.
Ooh. Oh. The Nexus surviving on just 24 health will be able to recharge those shields back up, but looks like Scarlett does not want to give Firefly a moment to breathe. We'll be jumping straight back in here with the Lurkers and this small number of roaches. Good yoink on the Disruptor to cancel that shot.
Yeah, very good yoink indeed. We have 3 Lurkers. We have detection as well, just barely. It looks like the Lurkers are going to be good enough. The Observer is going to be taken down here, and pushing into Lurkers, you never want to see that.
She did the light move. She snapped the Observer. The Left Lurkers reign supreme.
It's the only way to win, Papi. What do you want from us? As GG gets called, Scarlett fights back and takes game number 2.
Yeah, solid win there. That darkness buff coming in strong.
Oh, exactly. You know, sometimes it's important to smooch. That was pretty close, but I think that the biggest, or maybe the biggest downfall there of Firefly, as in his face as he was, and it was really impressive what he was able to get done, because he was so aggressive, like, he never really got a critical mass of, like, high-tech units. He never got a critical mass of Disruptors or Colossi.
Yeah, that can be something that can happen as well. I don't want to reach too far with going into the mind of Firefly, but sometimes when you do feel like you're the weaker player, instead of playing for a more late game and playing a more simple plan, you just want to create chaos and just kind of send units everywhere and try to catch them off guard and try to do stuff that's like so dumb it works sort of stuff. I'm not going to say that's exactly what he was doing, but sometimes it did feel like he was just making attacks for the sake of keeping the pressure on.
Yeah, and you could argue whether or not they were worth it, right? Or whether he should even be attacking with his disruptors and banking them up at home instead. You know, maybe it took him too long to get into a second robo or even a third robo. Yeah. I do agree though that maybe a big turning point was in that first fight with the parasitic bombs when the Phoenix count was completely reset and we never really got to get back into that kind of tech, and they never had their role to counter those Vipers.
Oppie, this is why XY talks about the mindset of the strong and the mindset of the weak. He says attacking all the time, mindset of the weak.
True. Really, XY when he wrote that in his tome of knowledge, in his tome of wisdom, he was actually calling out Firefly specifically.
He was like, "This isn't fair. This information is not for everyone. Actually, it's only for one person." So maybe he just like, this quote sounds like a really deep and meaningful quote, but he just lost on ladder to Firefly like right before he wrote the quote.
Exactly, man. Exactly. The drama is real. Okay, the rivalry between IG and SSLT has burned strong for generations. But with that, congratulations to Scarlett for tying it up 1-1. Again, things were looking really shaky after the first game, and even in the middle of the second game. Like Firefly definitely had some amazing moments with his peculiar off-meta build.
Yeah, I think, yeah, as you were saying, even in that second game, definitely got a fair bit of damage done. Definitely caught Scarlett off guard as well with the Phoenix, but kind of leads me to wonder what exactly was the goal with the Phoenix, because it felt like they got a lot done. Like they got a lot of overlords, they got a lot of pickups on the queens, and it seemed like best case scenario, and it still wasn't quite enough. So yeah, I wonder if just getting a little bit too fancy there and maybe a more simple Zealot bust would have been more effective.
Yeah, I agree. I thought that it was all going to be leading up to a big, like, charge lot Phoenix all in, basically. Where the Phoenixes come in, they CC the queens, and the charge lots flood on forward. But it felt like Firefly was going for, like, a longer, not even like a longer macro game, but like he wants to go into the mid game a little bit more solid instead. But that just feels weaker overall. It played out in a bit of a strange way, but was it intentional? I don't know.
He left his mark, that's for sure.
Yeah, definitely.
Props to Scarlett as well, playing defensively there, having the mindset of the strong to sit back and just take all the chaos until it's over, basically. But speaking of chaos, now we have a ZBZ.
Yeah, speaking of chaos, this is what we are all about. Lambo versus Silky. Lambo, one of the best Zerg players in all of Europe. Silky, one of the best Zerg players the best Zerg player in China, is going to be coming out strong. He was a lot more well-renowned and kind of had a history behind him, especially, I want to say, a couple of years ago. And then he stepped away from the game, he retired, and then he came back this year. That's why, the camels are starving. He is starving to prove himself again.
Starving for some action, but I want to point out as well, he's got a Zerg logo on his shirt. Now that is commitment.
Oh.
Actually, I really like ByuN's shirt. I was noticing that they all have like, this has to be on purpose. All the Shopify Rebellion players, they have like Shopify merch on, but each of them has a different item. Like Scarlett had the hoodie, Lambo's got the short sleeve, and then ByuN's got the long sleeve.
Yeah. So branding wise, Shopify, they know what's up.
Yeah.
They know how to brand their merch. Hey, do you wanna look like ByuN or Lambo or Scarlett or all of them? Just buy everything in the store. Just buy it.
Buy it all. Give me money. But meanwhile, we do have these hexagons coming out. Oh, I really like they've included with Silky his Chinese signature as well.
Oh, well, yeah,
That looks so
yeah.
nice.
That looks really sick. Oh my god. Some fancy signatures coming out here from our players. We do see again Lambo in a way encapsulating, encircling, and just surrounding Silky's hexagon a little bit. You know, there is definitely a skill disparity. Don't get us wrong. But despite that, you know, the special thing about World Team League is that you can come prepared.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of reminding me of like the science drawings where you have like the cell body inside the cell, and then the mitochondria is the powerhouse of the cell. Is Silky the powerhouse of Lambo's cell?
Is he the mitochondria? Is he the nucleus? The nuclei?
Yes.
Is
we are
Lambo the cell membrane?
Is he semi-permeable? These are the questions we will be asking ourselves as spawning in the top left-hand corner of the map. Playing for the Shopify Rebellion, this is Lambo.
And in the bottom right-hand corner, representing Team SSLT, it is Silky.
That's right, and Silky, he's going for a 13-12, so Lambo's going to have to make sure that his ramp is not semi-permeable.
He's going to make sure that there's no osmosis going on. We cannot allow any of those fluids to eke into the other side, as Lambo, the madman himself, goes for a pool first.
Yeah, Lambo, bit of a mad genius when it comes to Zerg. Kind of feels like he knows all the different builds, all the different ways that every single build matches up against each other. There's a reason that he was coaching Raynor during Raynor's IEM run, and I think it's because he has this very deep understanding of Zerg.
Oh yeah. It's one of those things where we talk a lot about Dolan, about he's the head, you know, he's the brain of Voltron. Likewise, we can say that Lambo is the head, is the brain of all European Zerg players. So yeah, already I'm sure he's pretty happy with himself. His Overlord does scout the links coming across the map. He's well aware of the timings, by the way. He knows it's 13-12, and this is the correct response. He's already got a spine crawler on the way.
Yeah, I think someone's told me about this before. By the times that the Overlords cross each other, you can tell whether it's a 13-12 or a 12 pool. But yeah, he is doing a very good response here. He's just going to pull a few drones just to help that 6vs6 Ling fight. And we'll just be pushing Silky away, but he should be fairly aware that there will be either banelings or speed in the near future. It does look like he's venturing out pretty far.
Oh, yeah, he has to be very careful not to be caught up. But again, I'm sure he's well aware of the timings. I'm sure he's well aware of when link speed is going to kick in, so he knows when he's safe and when he's not. It looks like, oh my god, he's actually going to try and dive on top of these morphing banelings. Can he get them?
Wow. Splitting off those links straight away does have that Overlord vision, of course. I think it does look like they were morphed slightly out, so I have to wonder if Lambo's done his research on Silky to know that.
It's quite possible that he has. Meanwhile, the Queen is coming down the ramp, the Spine Crawler as well, Lings as well. Lambo, he has the drone lead. All he has to do is defend and hold on to his base.
Yeah, but meanwhile, that Spine was not allowed to burrow, and now the Ling's getting a full surround on it. I'm a little bit worried for Lambo here.
Yeah, the Spine Crawler does finish up. The Banelings are going to be wasted on the Spines and on the Queens. It looks like with the reinforcing Lings, Lambo has held on. If he wanted to, he can make a follow-up Spine Crawler. We can see Silky is actually trying to transition. He has expanded back at home.
Yeah, but at the same time, Lambo is dwarfing Silky in the supply, and he has the extra lava from his base being finished earlier, even splitting off this Ling so he doesn't get caught off guard by the extra Baneling. So really nice play by Lambo. It does scout as well that there's extra Lings, extra Banes, so doesn't feel any need to be pushing in.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, pushing would be a mistake right now because Lambo has 0 gas. He doesn't have Ling speed or his own Baneling, so going for the defensive play would be smart. I mean, he already has an economic advantage.
That's really cool. So he defends this completely gasless.
Oh, yeah.
Interesting.
It's all about the Queens, Lings, and Spine Crawlers, and he holds onto his hatchery. Because of this, he should be transitioning into Roaches, and now Silky's perpetually behind. Silky, actually, by the way, he's still all in. He hasn't droned. He did get the hatchery, but only for larva.
Yeah, Silky going full light mode, only making Lings and Banes. Foregoing drones altogether, and yeah, it does look like it was a little bit of a fake out, but Lambo, he is walled off already. He is not permeable.
He is not permeable, you know, he will not let the cell wall fall. The Baneling's gonna roll on in to try and bust down this wall. We do have enough. Oh my god, they don't even get the Evo chamber!
Wow, that Evo Chamber is going to be finishing up those transfuses on the Queen. So clutch there, and that's all those Banelings going down. He has only 12 drones. This does not have any longevity whatsoever, and he just has to bust through this Evo now, but he can't do it.
And this is a smudge moment for Zerg, mate. Look at the production tab. Silky has recognized he cannot end the game, and he starts droning. And that is a sad, sad drone. God. Oh.
Yeah. We do see his Evos at the front, kind of disgustingly spurting blood everywhere, but the Queens will have those transfuses soon. We're seeing 5 Queens already for Lambo, so he is really solid at the front here. He could probably even rotate those Queens around to cover up that red hatchery. Red Evo.
If he wanted to, he honestly could. Yeah, Lambo can do whatever he wants at this point. Silky has to try and go for some kind of comeback here. Macroing is not going to work. Whether it's going into 2-base Muta or going for a Nidus all-in with Queens or something. There we go. He's going for that 2-base lair.
Yeah, that lair will be coming out nice and early, but this is pretty greedy as well. I presume he's just hoping that these Lings are going to be keeping Lambo at home, but Lambo should be looking to just hit a sharp Roach time here.
Yeah, he's just waiting for the Roach one to finish up. He's just droning in the interim. He's getting his 3rd base. He's getting his gases. This is the other sad thing about Moondance is that if you are defending on 2 bases, you can just, for free, take a 3rd.
Yeah, that's huge in this position, actually, because these Lings are stopping him from moving out, but he just has to protect this one wall, so he's in a fantastic position here, and I have to think that might have been part of the reason that he went for the gasless defense.
Oh yeah, I'm sure. I'm sure it all comes into play. There's layers to the mind of Lambo and how he kind of decides his builds and his openers. Meanwhile, I'm curious as to what Silky's gonna do. He has taken all 4 of his gases. The lair just finishes up. This kind of leans towards a Spire, but it could be Nidus. But there it is.
Light. Ogres have layers, like onions.
Like a cake, right? Like a cake?
Like a layer cake.
Oh, God.
They're getting married, puppy.
What?
Do you have a layer cake when you're getting married? Like the big tall one?
Yeah. They're getting... we're getting married to Fiona.
Finally. We will be family.
Oh, God. Where are we going with this?
I don't know. I'm just trying to kill time. They're just Zergs doing Zerg stuff. There's Lings going around. They're scouting.
Yeah.
Everything looks Zergy to me.
You're like, mate, Silky's on hopium and all kinds of copium right now. I don't know what to say.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
But at the same time, we do have Lambo going for this move out. Does have this army of overlords going on ahead, so I think they will be laying out that highway for the Roaches to run across. And this has just been, as we were saying, just a very clean, straightforward finish for Lambo. And the whole game, honestly, has just been textbook. Well, I don't know.
It really has been almost perfect here from Lambo. We do see the Queens marching across the map, so even if we do have Mutas to defend, we have plenty of anti-air. The Roaches get here before the Spine Crawlers finish, so some of these Spine Crawlers are going to be denied. Very smart of Silky to throw down this forest because he needs something to hold on to support the Queens, but sorry, to support the Mutas, but they're just not here in time.
Yeah, and the Queens, they outnumber the Mutas at this point, so this is not looking too hopeful for Silky at all. He's putting in his absolute best effort for his team, does not want to give up too early, but Lambo just completely overrunning him.
Yeah, exactly. GG gets called, and Lambo will take a very solid win here in game number 1.
And Lambo stoic as always.
I was about to say, I feel like we're weirdly silent, but there we go. The music does start up. Meanwhile, mate, he's got that leader bottle. Let's go.
He's got to stay hydrated. He's one with the Zergs. Doesn't want to overheat.
Exactly. Everyone, make sure you stay hydrated. Hydrated, drink plenty of water, and you too can defend against 13-12s. Gasless.
Do you reckon Lings can do that thing that ants do, where they just like surround something and then they move really fast and it gets really hot. Do you know ants do that?
Do they what?
Ants like kill big bugs like that. They just like surround it and pick it up, and then
just,
they like vibrate on it.
They
just, like,
vibrate.
Catches fire.
Wouldn't they catch fire?
Probably. Oh, they're expendable. Anything for the queen.
Anything for the hive, Poppy. Anything for the hive. Aye. Well, we'll see who's going to be vibrating on who. As game number 2 is going to be on Waterfall.
Oh, yeah, that's totally bees. Yeah.
That makes more sense.
It makes a lot more sense. I got it mixed up with the ant death circle. Apparently, ants, if they lose their hive and they don't know where they are, they'll just walk in circles until they die.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Are you sure that's not bees as well? Is that?
No, it's not bees. Bees can fly.
Okay. Oh, they can walk as well.
Yeah, they do little dances.
They do. Have you not seen the Bee Movie?
I haven't. I've only watched the YouTube video Bee Movie, but every time someone says bee, it speeds up.
It speeds up, yeah.
That's the only Bee movie I've seen.
I've seen that as well.
It's really dumb. I don't know what happens in the movie because about like 1/4 of the way through, it just speeds through the rest of the movie.
It's a romantic tale of a bee that falls in love with a human, and fights for bee rights around the world.
Are you reading a synopsis or do you have that off the top of your head?
That's in my brain.
Aye. But speaking of brains, this is with a big one. It is Shopify Rebellion's Lambo.
And in the bottom left-hand corner, representing Team SSLT, Silky. Oh.
Also with a big brain.
Also with a big brain, and we do see the build switching up here, even though Silky did decide another very small map. This time, he opts to go for a hatch first.
Yeah, and we do have this kind of build order poker coming out of the two players where Lambo going for the pool first once again, maybe thinking that Silky is going to go for another variation of an early pool, but Silky going for the hatch first is going to eke out a very small advantage there.
Oh, yeah, exactly. So Silky with the economic advantage. Lambo is going to pay the price for playing safe. Again, going for the pool first means against a 12 pool or a 13-12 or any kind of early aggression, Lambo would just shut it down, as we saw in the previous game. Silky is not going to make that same mistake again, though.
Yeah, absolutely not. Even on this small map where it would be a little bit predictable to go for something like a 12 pool maybe instead of the 13-12, but he is just going to play a bit more of a standard game, and I like this confidence. I like this mindset.
Oh, exactly. Silky, you know what happened during the break? He actually has, I mean, like many people do, he actually has the written works of XY, you know, at his side.
Behind his computer, like framed. I'm actually going to do that. I think that'd be really funny. I'm going to get like a picture of XY and then just have the full quote written out and frame it. That would be beautiful. Then I will always remember to be the mindset of the strong.
Exactly. And Silky, he just flipped on through. He went to the passage about himself. He nodded in agreement. In sad agreement. Yes, XY, you're right.
He's
mindset
like
of the strong.
Do not 13-12. Very well.
Oh my god. And he goes for the hatch first, but oh my god, both players are having a little bit of fun. Somehow they are both of same minds because they are both going for 2 base lair.
Yeah, this is crazy. Both players going for the same kind of aggressive build, and we did see for a very long time, you'll have to tell me whether this is still the case, but I know for a long time the meta in ZBZ was to always play 2 base builds and just mix up whether it's like a early roach timing, a 2-1 roach timing, burrow roach, or mutas.
Yeah, that was the case for a long time. I feel like recently it has been more macro oriented, but maybe I've just been watching too much European ZVZ. I don't know. But this is crazy. The gases are all being taken right now. I believe we see Lambo on 3. I believe Silky still only on 2. He hasn't retained the rest of them. And Lambo is going to be committing to roaches, not going into mutas. Oh, they both are.
Yeah, Lambo actually got the full scout with his Ling there. I wasn't quite sure there whether Silky was able to do that himself. So there's a good possibility that Lambo has a little bit of an informational edge here.
Yeah. So Lambo should be preparing. Has he been able to piece it all together though? Because again, I believe Silky is going all in here. He's prioritizing Roach speed. He got a faster Roach Warren. He is not getting any upgrades on his Evo chamber, and he is done droning. So 29 workers is all he has. He's making nothing but roaches, and he's going to just go across the map.
Yeah, I'm very worried for Lambo. I think he has been a little bit bamboozled here because his roaches are only just starting up now, and he has, what is that, 15 drones more than Silky. I don't know much about ZVZ, but I do remember from the few ladder games that I have played that having 10 or more drones more than your opponent is not a good thing most of the time.
Yeah, that's why I don't do it. Yeah, here we go. The creep highway is here. The queens of Silky did push away that overlord, and we do see Lambo recognize that something is wrong. He does start a spine crawler. He starts a second spine crawler now that he confirms the push, but is this too late?
Yeah, Silky is charging across the map. He does have those Pooper Lords dropping down that highway to send all the reinforcements straight across, and he will be just charging up this ramp. He pushes his way in through the wall, but is repelled by the Spine Crawler and the Ravagers, and I think he needs to be a bit urgent with this.
Yeah, he actually starts droning. He's crazy. He thinks that he doesn't believe in himself right now. He does take down the Roach Warren. He does deny Glad Reconstitution, so a very solid pickoff here, taking out Roach Speed. But droning, after being so far behind, questionable play, mate.
Yeah, and we see that extra Roach Warren going down preemptively from Lambo, so really good job there as well. And as soon as that Roach Warren went down, he instantly threw down a Spire, so maybe anticipating that he's going to be stuck on two bases for a long time here.
Yeah, exactly. Meanwhile, Silky, he's running all the way back home with his queens. It looks like Lambo has recognized that. He is actually droning as we speak as well, so Lambo is going to maintain his worker lead, and Silky is going for a third.
Yeah, really interesting play out of Silky. Is just going to go more for this contained style of play. Is taking out that scout with the Overseer. But yeah, I have to wonder if he had a bit more confidence with that. If he maybe could have got more damage, but we'll have to trust his judgment though.
Yeah, like, I mean, look, he still has that supply advantage right now. Like, even if it's a inefficient trade pushing up the ramp, as soon as he saw the bile, he was like, nah, mate. When maybe he could have, maybe not even the end of the game, but maybe even denied +1 range, you know, taking down the Evo chambers, you know, done a little bit more damage and caused a little bit more havoc. Regardless, because of that kind of reaction, Lambo is still in this.
Yeah, and Lambo has been so sharp with the way that he's followed up from here, and these mutas are really going to be a surprise to Silky. I don't think he's been able to get any scouting for quite a while now.
Yeah, he hasn't seen anything. He has very little anti-air. He has three queens who just went back across the map, and these mutas will give Lambo map control. He'll be free to expand. He'll be free to focus on roach play, which is what he's doing. He is working on +2 range.
Yeah, so we'll have that roach timing coming up afterwards. Looks like he just makes the 5 mutas, and we'll be sending those across just to take out overlords.
Yeah, exactly. We'll actually dive on top of a queen here, was left behind, and it will be focused down. The rest of the army forced to turn around as well for Silky.
Yeah, nice pickoffs there. And these 5 mutas, while it's not the hugest amount, they are going to completely take the map control here.
Yeah, exactly. Every overlord is going to go down. Silky is forced to respond here. We have spores on the way, more queens on the way. He has to bring back all the overlords as well, at risk of losing a little bit too much. 5 mutas are enough to one-shot a drone, by the way. That is why they are the key number. And Silky is... Oh, never mind. I was going to be like, he's just going to send it. No, even then, he's a little bit indecisive.
Yeah, I think he's just trying to keep these mutas busy, but Lambo is getting so much information with these.
Oh god, there's no spore in the main.
Yeah, no spore at all, and a lot of queens going down as well. So I have to wonder if maybe Lambo might want to go back into mutas, seeing as there's really not that much commitment to anti-air.
Yeah, exactly. Meanwhile, here we go. Silky, he just moves across the map. His entire roach army is there, but is it too late? He does have a supply lead. He does have a lead in roaches, but those spines from earlier have been repositioned to the low ground.
Wow, yes, this is a beautiful setup here for Lambo, really anticipating this attack from Silky. Gets that full concave, gets those spines, and those spines are going to put in so much work here.
Yeah, exactly. One spine goes down, but the other is putting in a lot of work. As you were saying, the mutas even turn around. There was a spore set up here for Silky, but it does get focused down.
Yeah, and this +2 of Lambo finishing at the perfect time. Bit of an anti-timing coming through from Silky, and Lambo absolutely crushes this fight.
And GG gets called. Lambo, with a clean sweep here, takes the 2-0 over Silky.
Yeah, really, really nice player coming out from Lambo. Looked so confident, so in control all the way throughout.
Oh, exactly. I. And yeah, the problem with Silky there, I do believe, was that just when you're committed to an all-in, and I think we have to both, or at least I would say that that was an all-in, just stopping droning at 29, being so far behind. You got to commit, because droning from that position, it's just a really difficult place to recover from after being committed like that, right?
Yeah, and I think it's also a particularity of playing against Zerg with an all-in that happens with every race, where if they do over-drone, you have this small window that you kind of have to kill them in. And if you don't manage to do that, then they're just going to be able to completely overwhelm you with army. So anytime you're going for a sharp timing like that, if they've droned too much, you really do have to punish.
Yeah, you have to punish. You have to be decisive, right? You have to be decisive, and maybe Silky, maybe it's one of the failings of sifting through that book, sifting through that tome, and just stopping where he's mentioned and not reading further, because I'm sure I'm sure XY has talked plenty about just sticking to your guns, right? Be confident in your own play, in your own decision making, in your original plan, instead of trying to diverge on the fly like that.
For sure, but yeah, props to Lambo for taking that defensive position and for sniffing out that attack. Even if it was a little bit late in the end, he did have what was necessary to defend there, and yeah, just great play overall. Looks like would you say he's like a ZVZ specialist as well?
Oh yeah, 100%.
Yeah, because I remember he almost took out Cyril in that big tournament where he came second. I can't remember what it was. Was it Aces Rock or something like that? But he was, I do remember 2-0, maybe 3-0 up against Cyril.
Yeah, he had a really good showing against Cyril. I believe that was a year ago now, maybe 2 years ago at this point. So this is kind of where he thrives the most, in those EVZs. But now we are moving on to potentially the final series of the night. Bit of a TVZ instead.
Yeah, we're going to have this TVZ here, so do have these little hexagons coming on up, and I have to say, they don't rate ByuN super highly.
Yeah, we've had these discussions before, these problems with the WTL organizers, where they just don't give some of these players the credit that they deserve, especially because ByuN recently, I feel like, has been really in form, and I feel like he at least deserves an A tier.
Yeah, I think so too. I like that they've given him a nod in the offense and micro. That's definitely very accurate, and potentially mindset has been a little bit of a boon for him. I know that they have talked a little bit about his wrist issues maybe being some kind of mental thing, but he has been working on it as well. And it's not really something that we've been seeing as often. And he just tends to dominate online play in general.
Yeah, and even though I understand docking points and mindset, especially historically, strategically, I feel like he deserves a couple more points there as well, because sure, you can argue that maybe sometimes he has an over-reliance on his good micro and good control, but at the same time, he has very unique builds, very akin to him as well, very stylistic play, and I feel like that deserves, again, a bit of a nod.
I was gonna say, does making Marines and medevacs count as strategy?
I mean, what else is Terra gonna do? What are you talking about? That's that's as strategic as they get, puppy. What do you mean? Yeah,
ByuN has shown time and time again where a lot of players would be, kind of teching up further, going into this big late game Maru composition and turtling. He can make magic happen with his drop player. Oh, I love it. Oh, that's so cute. As we have spawning in the bottom right hand corner here, ByuN.
Oh, and in the top left-hand corner, loving his opponents, representing SSLT, it's TooDming.
I just realized TooDming said "love you" and ByuN said "me too." what
That's a solid.
It's just like, you're my favorite player, and he's like, I'm my favorite player too.
I was gonna say that's like a solid like restaurant interaction where
happy birthday, you too.
I was gonna say, they hand you your food, they're like, enjoy your meal, and you're like, you too. The waitress steps away, and you're like, I just need to leave. I cannot stay here anymore.
I've seen the TikToks of that where like the person says "you too" and they kind of stare at each other for the
Yeah.
moment, and then the customer is like working as the waiter now, and the waiter
Yeah.
sits down and eats the meal.
Well, meanwhile, despite the love, despite the compassion being shown here in this best of two, ByuN, he shows his love the only way that he can, and that is by proxying his opponent.
This is the way that Terrans show love. This is why I proxy raxed you. Like, I was showing love.
Get out of here.
It's because you're my favorite player.
Me too. Me too, puppy.
Oh no. But this T-Rex will be going straight on in here. So of course, as we've been told time and time again, this is a macro build.
Yeah, 2 Rexes are not committed at all. Terran can do anything from here. We do see a pretty big reaction. The boys are being pulled. We have to deny this bunker. This is the correct decision here. Reaction from TooDming, but how good is the controllers? Ooh, a drone gets picked off. 2 drones.
Oh, yeah, a little bit of indecisiveness and doesn't actually deny the bunker. That's a disaster. And you can see he is kind of smiling. He's grinning. He knows that this is pretty much over.
Yeah, this is too much damage already being done. You could say, is 4 drones really game ending? Yes. ByuN is ahead in workers. He's pushing through with his Marines. He has established his foothold with his bunker. And now as a result, there is a bit of a timer on the longevity of this hatchery.
Yeah, you can see in the camera there, TooDming realizes his situation. ByuN already getting a factory behind this. It will be going up into his CC pretty soon as well. Little bit supply blocked, but doesn't really matter that much. If he takes down this base here, it is all over. So I'm expecting to see TooDming just charging in for the attack as soon as that queen pops, and there we go.
Yeah, the queen gets popped. It's being targeted down. The queen will go down. Meanwhile, at the same time, GG gets called. The repair was too good. The bunker survived, and ByuN takes a 1-0 lead. Me too.
Oof. A little shake of the head from TooDming. Never meet your heroes.
See, this is what happens when you open up, when you open up to a Terran player, when you leave yourself a little bit vulnerable, I love you, papi. And they proxy T-Rex you, mate.
I love your MMR.
Smooch, papi. Give me your illegal act points.
It feels so good. But that will be a very quick game. That means TooDming now gets to choose the next map, and he's going to choose Inside and Out. I actually really like this because Inside and Out being such a short map, it's a good map for roaches, good map for pool first. So he can just play pool first, which is safe against any proxy raxes anyway, and he will be having the initiative, so he'll get to at least play his game.
Yeah, I would hope to see a longer game here in game number 2, and you know what? I think the chat wants to see a longer game as well. I want to give a massive shout out to Chileno Singaporean for gifting a tier 1 sub to Lorimbo in the chat, and also to Blood Feast Rambo for also subscribing. Thank you.
There's a name I haven't seen in a little while. Really nice to see you here. Thanks for joining.
Oh, yes. Thank you so much for joining, everyone. Hope everyone is enjoying themselves as we are still towards the end of our first series here. Shopify Rebellion going up against SSLT.
Yeah, and spawning here in the bottom left-hand corner of the map for Shopify Rebellion, this is ByuN.
In the top right-hand corner representing Team SSLT, it is TooDming.
Just seeing the chat catching up there. We did have ByuN going for a proxy 2-Rex Marine in that first game, getting a very quick victory here, and it looks like going to be playing this one out a little bit more standard, so we're going to have a bit more of a game between these two, hopefully.
Oh yeah, the game is going to last more than 5 minutes, I do say. And I will hope to enjoy this ZVT as much as possible here, as ByuN doesn't go for a proxy. TooDming likewise also goes for a hatch first, not a pool first.
Yeah, I was really expecting a pool first, but maybe that's a bit too obvious. So it does go for the hatch first on this map. Is going to be playing out a bit more of a standard game. And if I remember from TooDming's games against Vindicta, he does like to open up fairly standard.
Yeah, he's not necessarily a cheesy player. I don't when I think of TooDming, I don't think of someone who goes for like these heavy Roach Ravager timings or Ling Bane busts or anything like that. He just wants to play his game. He just wants to spend, some time with his favorite player.
Me too.
It's like, I love spending time with you, ByuN. Me too. I love spending time with me as well.
It must be so good for you. Aye. But
love you, ByuN.
We do see ByuN going for a very standard build here. It is most likely going to be going into that 1-1, so we're not seeing any 2-on-1 skill checks, not seeing the 3-racks either. It's just going to play out a more standard build against the opponent here, so we're going to see a bit of a game. I'm excited for this.
Yeah, I'm excited as well. I want to see how they're able to flourish. I want to see TooDming prove himself for his team against a player like ByuN. We do see the first Reaper coming out. Just dancing with these links. Shouldn't be getting too much damage here. Nice micro, nice pullback here from TooDming. As he actually opts to make 6 links instead of the usual 4.
Yeah, but ByuN, his Reaper micro is very well renowned. Pretty much single-handedly got the unit nerfed. I'm not going to say into the ground because you're going to tell me that it's terrible propaganda, but it got nerfed very heavily based on his play.
Yeah, like, what are you saying? Do you want to just mass Reapers and have that just be a macro opener?
Yes.
Like, mate, you're...
I mean, people still have been playing 2-racks Reaper from home a little bit.
Yeah.
I know Diego, who we'll be seeing later on tonight, Kellezer will be seeing him, does like to go for that build quite a lot. And ByuN, he was so famous for the 3-racks Reaper, but it's not really something that you see that much anymore.
Thankfully. But yeah, we'll get some more of Diego later on tonight. Meanwhile, we were talking about TooDming and about how he's more of a standard player here, but now we see something a little bit different.
Ooh.
Nice snipe there. The first tumor is going to be going down. Solid control from ByuN, but a Roach Warren has been thrown down behind the mineral line at the natural.
Yeah, ByuN just flexing his micro a little bit, but it does look like TooDming going to be going for most likely a Speedling Roach roll in. Very well placed with the links. Almost takes out that Reaper there, but that in itself is already suspicious. People usually do that when they're doing these Roach builds.
Yeah, exactly. And is ByuN any wiser right now? He's going for his own relatively standard opener here. We do have Stim on the way. We've got a couple of Hellions as well. He hasn't gotten into the main base yet, but it looks like now he will, even with these things in position. Oh, but the Queen can snipe it.
Oh, great reactions from TooDming there. That was really nice. And he will be making a few extra Roaches here. The Roaches have been spotted by the Hellions, and meanwhile, back at home, looks like Stim was already on the way. I think he's actually caught ByuN going for a no starport build here.
Yeah, I also was noticing the lack of starport, the lack of add-ons instead. So there won't be a defensive Banshee or anything like that. Instead, we're working with Marines, with Hellions, and apparently Marauders. No,
there is a Viking. Okay. So the Viking was made. Looks like he just made the one Viking. So that is a bit of a risky build. Can get you into trouble against a build like this. But ByuN is going to be able to use his micro as well as possible. The bunker is going to be finishing up in time. The Marines jumping in there, and TooDming does decide to back off for the moment.
Yeah, exactly. We see him droning up back at home instead. He's going to be, again, looking to saturate his third base, and ByuN is free to just continue with his build from here. Again, very interesting how, despite going for that starport, just mainly using it for add-ons just to get the tech labs for the rest of his production here, delaying any kind of drop.
Yeah, ByuN looking to hit a very strong Stim tank timing soon here. He's just going to be microing this Viking as well to try to take out that tumor, just really flexing all of his micro onto being trying to find these little edges here.
Exactly, and so far he's been able to deal some decent damage. At the same time, Hellion run by here at the third base does get one of those drones, gets a second drone towards the end at the cost of a couple of those Hellions, but you could definitely argue, especially against a Roach heavy style, Hellions, they don't really have too much longevity at all.
Yeah, for sure. Meanwhile, for TooDming, we do see he is starting to go more into Ling, so did get that Ling speed very late after the Roaches finished up, and does look like he might be going for a little bit of a follow-up all in here. He's just pumping Lings on 50 drones.
Yeah, he did not go for a fourth hatchery. He is done droning, is making nothing but Lings. We have a couple of Ravagers on the way as well. What does ByuN have to defend? He does have a couple of tanks, but what is their positioning looking like?
Yeah, it does look like he hasn't actually saturated that third base, so that's really nice for him. He's going to be totally walled up in this natural, and TooDming starting to force himself up. He's going to be biling down this bunker here, and that does open the floodgates for these Lings.
But that tank on the high ground was just wreaking havoc on that army. There was no high ground vision. There was no Overlord in position. I mean, there was a Viking anyway, so even if there was an Overlord, it wouldn't be able to do anything. And ByuN holds beautifully.
Yeah, the Lings are here, but that Viking, that's going to stop any Overlords from coming in, as you were saying. And all those tank shots were huge. Those Lings absolutely melt.
Yeah, exactly. Just TooDming is having no success here, and he has decided to pack up, go home, and drone.
Yeah, he is going to be droning, but he is so far behind in the drones. ByuN just oversaturating that natural until the danger is gone. And meanwhile, we see for TooDming only just able to start up his upgrades now. I believe that's his lair that he's starting now as well. So he's just so behind in tech.
Yeah, exactly. There is no Roach speed. There's no Baneling speed. The 2-2 or even 1-1 is incredibly delayed as well. Like we were talking about it earlier about being decisive when you go for these plays, and attempting to transition is so difficult. That's why we call them all in, because if you don't do it, transitions typically are almost impossible.
I love that Viking just floating over the entire army there, as well as they're taking out the rocks. Just kind of like, hey, buddy, what you doing?
I like me too. Oh my god. As we have a double jump head towards the main base, TooDming's main army is completely out of position for this. So there's a lot of potential for damage. Meanwhile, two of these deepers get taken down, but in comes that double drop.
Yeah, ByuN catching TooDming completely out of position here. He's going to be able to get a lot of damage with this double drop. More importantly, it relieves so much pressure on himself as everything has to come back. But all the Lings trickling in there, they are not going to trade well whatsoever.
Oh my god, he gets the Evo Chamber. He denies +1 carapace, the most important out of the two upgrades. And again, because of the lack of Banelings, because of the lack of Baneling speed, like it was so difficult for TooDming to deal with that.
Yeah, and this is where ByuN excels. It's the multitask, it's the dropping this way and that way. It's the constantly dragging all of your units out of position, and he is starting to shove through the middle with his follow-up army and those tanks as well.
Yeah, thankfully, I got to commend TooDming for his crease rate. It's not bad. Yeah, he's almost at the halfway point, and that is going to slow ByuN down a little bit, or at least give TooDming a little bit of warning as to that push. So he has that going for him at least. But again, Baneling speed just now started. He's going to have slow Banes to deal with the main army that's coming through the middle of the map.
Yeah, and I'm really curious. He's started up a Hydra Den as well. Do you think that's looking for lurkers?
I think that's pure copium, Bobby. I think that is. I mean, maybe he plans to go into lunkers, but a plan is all good and nice. But what about the reality here? The Banelings all get targeted down, and there's nothing to protect these Ravagers.
Yeah, ByuN just standing his ground there against a lower amount of Banelings trickling in one by one. He's going to blast all of those down, and GG, a dominating performance coming out from ByuN.
Wow, GG, well played there. Game 1 ended before it began, but game 2, we got a little bit more out of it, and we got to see TooDming, kind of execute his own builds and his own strategy and force ByuN to a little bit react to him. But unfortunately, like the defense, the positioning, the control from ByuN was just insane.
Yeah, I love ByuN just adjusting his glasses there as well, just going for kind of like the anime protagonist, like, almost made me sweat.
Oh my god. Yeah, he is the main protagonist as he does take that game, and he takes the series here for Shopify Rebellion as they do win 5-1.
Yeah, strong performance coming out from Shopify Rebellion, getting that 5-1. So going to be very important for them going further on into this season to be showing their best against some of these lower down teams. But yeah, just a very strong performance overall, and good job from SSLT as well. Firefly taking a map off a Scarlett.
Oh, definitely. There was a very strong showing there by Firefly. Almost took the 2-0, to be honest, but alas, was not meant to be. Not today, anyway. So hopefully, the players were able to be confident in their performance, or happy with their performance, as we are going to be getting ready for our second series of the night.
Yeah. And we do have a very exciting one coming up, Onside versus Liquid. So definitely hanging around for that one. Going to be a lot of star players involved.
Yeah, we'll be back in 4 minutes. Go and get some water, go to the bathroom, stretch, look after yourselves. Be back here in 4 minutes for some more StarCraft.
See you soon.